Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday, episode 18. So it is 57 degrees here in Tucson this evening, so I've got my cozy sweater on. I hope you're enjoying the change in the weather wherever you are. I know some of you are having some unseasonably warm weather and enjoying that. And here in Tucson, we are thrilled to finally be having a cool down, or at least I am. Maybe not everyone is, but I love this time of year. When I was growing up in Illinois, fall was always my favorite season. I love to watch the leaves change and kind of smell that crispness in the air that we don't often get to smell here in Arizona. That feeling of winter and snow coming on, that sort of warmth of the holiday season kind of starting to make its way into your life. So I hope that you are treasuring that this year, even though it's an unusual year. Remember to take some time to enjoy what you can, to have gratitude for what you do have in your life right now. So today is 11/11. It's Veterans Day, so thank you to anyone who has served our country and to our ancestors. We can take a moment to just expand and send some gratitude to those who have served, who are with us and also no longer with us. And also, I've mentioned numerology before. It's not an area of expertise for me, but I think it's really interesting. So I looked up 11 because I was seeing a lot of things about 11/11. So 11 is considered a master number, and it's doubled today. So what that means is it's a number that's associated with intuition, insight, and enlightenment, which is what we're going for in these Wind Down Wednesdays. So 11 invites us to expand in growth. It invites us to step into our spiritual awakening and to deepen our connection to the spirit. So in that kind of realm, with that intention, let's invite that master number, that 11, to strengthen our practice this evening. So surrender. Tonight we are going to talk about surrender. And surrender kind of has a negative association. It can be affiliated with giving up. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing that somebody's having a problem with sound and someone else is helping them. So thank you very much. Hopefully everyone is able to hear me. And if not, then I'm just talking to myself, and that's okay because I need to hear this message too. So surrender tends to have a negative connotation. We think of it in terms of sometimes war, we surrender in war, or it's sort of giving up, which we kind of associate the idea of giving up with failure. And I've written about this. There's a two-part series on my website, which is paulataylorenergy.com, of 2 blog posts that I made about the art of surrender. So I'm not going to go into that too much tonight. I talk a lot in there about the idea of giving up versus the idea of offering surrender. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And I also go into my own personal struggle with surrendering to my infertility and my history of miscarriages. And so I encourage you to head to the website and read those to kind of deepen your understanding of what we're talking about this evening. So spiritual surrender, that's a word, that's the phrase I like to use as opposed to just surrender. So we're spiritually surrendering. So what does that mean? I wrote down kind of what that means to me, or my definition of that. So spiritual surrender is an act of love and courage. It's facing the fear that underlies any kind of struggle in our lives, whether it's a specific situation, whether we're dealing with an emotional feeling that we're having a hard time letting go of, and offering this struggle with love to the divine. So you'll see this kind of idea a lot if you're at all familiar with 12-step programs. So it's the idea of you're admitting that your life is unmanageable, and then you're turning things over. You're turning over the reins to a higher power, because the idea is that surrendering that control or illusion of control, because we don't really have control, it's an illusion. Surrendering that illusion of control to the divine allows us to step into flow. And what I want to say before I get into flow much is that you'll notice in the definition that I wrote down for myself, I said facing the fear that underlies a struggle and offering it with love to the divine. So that word offering is key here. So we make an offering with love. Offering is not the same as giving up in frustration. Oh, I can't do this anymore, and just sort of throwing something away. When we make an offering, we make it with love. And when I was thinking about this, it made me think of, I grew up in the Catholic Church as a child, and every week during the Mass, there's an offering where the priest, and then in our church, it was usually a family, was chosen to bring these gifts down the aisle of the church and offer them. And it was an honor to be picked as the family that got to offer these gifts. You kind of dressed up, and it was considered an honor to give an offering. And it is an honor to give an offering. When we give from a place of love, when we give from ourselves, it actually makes us feel better. It actually expands us. And there's research to support this. So an example of this is people with depression oftentimes will be encouraged to volunteer. So the mesolimbic system of the brain actually activates dopamine and serotonin, which are two of our neurotransmitters that are kind of involved in making us feel good. So when we give, when we volunteer or we offer, when we give of ourselves to others, our brain actually rewards us. We actually get these chemicals going that make us feel good. So when we're thinking about surrender, we need to think about it in terms of offering surrender rather than kind of giving up or throwing something down in frustration. We're offering with love. We're giving of ourselves, and then we receive back from our actual physical brain, as well as from this expansion into kind of this spiritual space of giving. So I mentioned that surrender is about stepping into flow. So we're letting go of our illusion of control here, and we're opening our hearts to service in whatever form that takes when we are able to step into flow. And the thing about flow, and what do I mean by flow? I guess I should define flow a little bit. So what I mean by stepping into flow is this idea of surrender, is this idea of just sort of saying to the universe, to the divine, to whatever higher power you believe in, I am open. I let you step into my life, and whether it's a specific situation, I give this situation to you, or maybe it's just the overall path of your life. Maybe it's an emotional feeling that you're just having a hard time with. We offer that to the divine, and then letting go of that allows this flow of energy to come back into our space. So when we're holding on, that's stagnation. And I've talked about stagnation before. So stagnation is what makes us sick. Stagnation is what makes us we get stuck in fear. Stagnation is fear. It's kind of areas of fear that get stuck in the body. And so flow is the opposite of stagnation. Flow is opening to love. It's inviting love into our field. It's maybe not letting go completely of the fear if we're not ready, but it's offering the fear to the flow and letting that flow come into our body, which many times you will find the fear that's underlying this struggle, that whatever struggle it is that comes up for you tonight, it will go away or it will get better. Sometimes, we have to practice. This is, every week I say this is a practice. So sometimes stepping into flow and stepping into expansion will completely resolve a situation. Sometimes it's something that we have to just do over and over again. That happened to me with my infertility. I finally accepted that it was true, but it was a process of, another year or more of really letting go, and then of releasing that from my physical body, from my physical energetic field, so that I could be more in flow about that, so that I could let go of that struggle. So one of the things I wrote down here, and I wanted to kind of read this because I thought it came out very well when I was writing this down. So our small minds can't fathom the great things that we can achieve in a truly expanded state. Stepping into flow, opening to divine guidance, surrendering to unconditional love allows us to open to paths we could never have imagined. So we are on this physical plane in these physical bodies. We are not physical beings. We are made of this spirit, of this divine energy that sort of imbues all things. But we are limited in what we can see and experience when we are in this physical realm. So one of the advantages, one of the gifts of surrendering to flow, of surrendering to divine guidance, is that this amazing energy that some of us call God or the divine or a higher power has a much grander vision for you than your small physical mind could ever have. So when you're able to surrender, when you're able to open and expand into this flow, life might take a turn that you never saw coming, because we just can't wrap our minds around this, the grandness of this expansion, of this unconditional love. So instead of describing, I feel like I've gotten a little bit into describing the meditation that we're going to do. And I think that takes a little bit of the flow out of it, a little bit of the spontaneity out of it. So we're going to just kind of go into the meditation. If you've been with me before and you've done the joy meditation that we did, we're going to use our waterfall of joy tonight. If that's new to you, that's completely okay. I'm still going to guide you into the right space. But if you've been there before, it will be more familiar, and perhaps you'll feel more comfortable every time you visit. And we do use that quite often. So I do suggest, if you haven't done that, I'm not sure what episode it is, but if you go to my website, every single one has a description. So I encourage you to practice this joy meditation, because we do visit our waterfall of joy fairly frequently in these meditations. Okay, so let's get nice and comfy. I'm going to take my cleansing sip of water here. And before we start, let's invite that vibration, that energy of 11 to come into our field. Let's open to intuition, insight, and enlightenment, and invite growth and spiritual awakening further into our energetic field, further into our lives. Find yourself a nice, comfortable position. As always, I encourage you to sit up if possible, just to avoid falling asleep. But whatever position calls to you is the right thing. And as always, be gentle with yourself. Your intuition comes to you best when you're in a nice, neutral, grounded state of mind. We're going to walk ourselves into that. But if you're having a hard time, don't worry about it. Just be gentle. If you have emotional things come up, let them come. Let the emotions flow. And take deep breaths that will help get you back into a neutral state. So let's start with 3 deep breaths in through the nose, and I'd like you to let them out with a nice long ha sound. Take 2 more breaths just like that. This ha sound vibrates our vagus nerve. It activates this soothing parasympathetic nervous system. It allows us to step into ease. And notice whatever part of your body is touching the ground. Really let that feel connected to the ground, whether it's your feet or your bottom. Invite your awareness to come back into the present moment. Let go of anything that happened earlier today that's still pulling at your attention. Let go of anything you need to do later tonight or tomorrow. Let yourself come fully into this moment. Let yourself come fully into your body. Let your breathing relax, but as needed, take those nice deep breaths in through the nose. Sigh them out. Use that audible ha sound. If you start to feel emotions coming up, if you start to feel yourself losing your state of neutrality, take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let it out with that ha sound. Imagine the top of your head gently opening and invite the unconditional love of divine energy to flow in through the top of your head. Let this energy come into your head, your face and jaw, your neck and throat. Invite this energy down into your shoulders and upper arms. Let this light and love flow into your lower arms, into your wrists and hands. Allow this divine light, this unconditional love to flow into your chest and upper back. Let it come into your abdomen, your mid-back, your low back and low belly. Allow this light to flow into your hips and your pelvis. Let it come down each thigh and into your knees. Allow this light to flow through the shins and calves, all the way to your ankles and feet. Once again, notice the connection of your feet to the earth, to the ground. Let yourself settle in your body. Notice any remaining areas that feel a little tense that are calling for your attention. And take 2 or 3 deep ha breaths in through the nose. Sigh them out. That beautiful ha sound. Invite yourself to relax here. And as you come into this relaxed, neutral state, you're activating your observer mind. Anything we look at from here on in, we look at with neutrality, almost as though an outsider is observing your own situation. You're no longer tied into any emotions that come up. You're connected to this divine guidance here, to divine sight. And gently, without making effort, because your intuition will guide you to the right situation in your life, think about an area in your life right now in which you're struggling. Maybe it's a specific situation. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's just an overall feeling of wanting this year to be over. Whatever comes up for you, know that you're being guided to the right situation that needs your attention today. Allow yourself to stay in this neutral, grounded state, breathing deeply as you need to. Underneath this struggle, underneath this situation that's coming to your attention, there's a fear, or maybe several. As you're ready, start to invite these fears to come into your awareness. They may have been buried in the subconscious, out of your conscious mind. But this fear is what is keeping you in struggle. This fear is causing stagnation around this particular situation. So let the fear come into your awareness. Let yourself look at this. Stay in this neutral space. Breathe as you need to. If you start getting emotional, don't judge yourself. Don't be harsh. Just keep breathing. You'll notice if you take 3 to 5 deep breaths, that neutrality will come back, at least to an extent. And as you get a sense for this fear, try to break it down to the base level of fear. If it's something like fear of failure, maybe that's really a fear of lack of abundance. What is the fear that's underlying your situation? Maybe it's just a fear that there's a lack of love, and we're about to remedy that. If this is a relationship, perhaps this fear has to do with something being reflected back to you from the other person. And let yourself be aware that anything you see in someone else that triggers fear in you is really about something in yourself that's bringing up fear. Maybe it's a fear of letting go, and that under that is that illusion of control. Just let yourself notice. Invite your intuition to tell you, what is the base level of my fear? What is at the root of my fear in this situation? And I want you to gather your fear up, whether it's the root fear, whether it's still kind of fears around that, whether it's a whole bunch of fears. Gather all of this fear up. Perhaps you have a basket. You've put all your fears into a basket around this situation. We're going to take this basket of fears to our waterfall of joy. If you're familiar with that, you can travel there now and just hold your fears. Just look at your waterfall for a few moments. If you've never been to your waterfall of joy, imagine the most beautiful waterfall you could possibly imagine. Whatever comes into your mind is the right place for you. This is a symbol and a spiritual place. This is an actual place in your spiritual field where you are connected to the flow of the divine, of divine joy and love, the opposite of fear. So let yourself come to this waterfall. Let yourself look around this space. If you've been here before, maybe something's changed. Let yourself notice if anything's different. Are the colors the same? Maybe you're in a different season than you were before. Just let yourself come to this place and be present. You can put your basket down for a moment if you'd like. Put it next to the waterfall on the banks. And let yourself just look around for a minute. Let yourself enjoy this space. Let yourself begin to feel this joy. We're not in the waterfall yet. We're just standing here, but just like in a real waterfall, the spray of water is gently coming into our field, onto our body, we feel this gentle spray of love and joy, of pure bliss, this divine energy, this energy of love. And now I want you, if you've placed your basket on the ground, I want you to pick it back up. And I want you to look into your basket, look at your fears. You can see them, as we have in the past, as something very precious to you. Maybe they're little baby animals, or maybe they look like your baby, someone that you love very much. Let yourself feel about these fears the way you feel about whatever you're picturing now, whether it's an animal or a person. These fears need love. They're like little kittens that have been deserted by their mother, and they need you to love them, to feed them and nourish them by giving them love, to transform them into healthy cats through love. So before we surrender these fears, we want to bring some love from our own field. We want to bring understanding of ourselves and the acknowledgement that we're doing the best that we can, that there's no need for judgment here. And as you're ready, you can toss your fears into the water, into this waterfall of joy. Surrender these fears, offer them with love into this divine flow, into this divine unconditional love. Notice how it feels in your body, in your emotional field, to surrender these fears, to surrender this situation, to offer your surrender to the divine here with love, with joy. Let yourself smile as you surrender. And then as you're ready, step into the flow yourself, step into your waterfall. Let that joy flow into your body, into your field. Let yourself feel this bliss, this unconditional love. Invite this flow to come into your daily life. Invite this flow of unconditional love to transform your fears into love. Allow yourself to choose love over fear by stepping into this divine flow, by surrendering your fear to the love of the divine, by offering with love to step into this flow. Offer yourself into this flow of bliss, of joy. Let yourself trust that this divine flow is here for your highest good. Let yourself really feel that in your body now, that feeling of trust, that feeling that you're stepping into a state where your highest good will be manifested. You're stepping into the abundance of divine love, of divine flow, of bliss, of joy. Let this waterfall wash away any areas of stagnation that are remaining in your body, in your field, in your mind. Offer your thoughts, your patterns of thinking of holding on to old thoughts. Offer them into this flow. Let new thoughts come in inspired by this divine unconditional love. Offer any remaining judgments that you're still holding about yourself or others into this flow. Let go of this need to judge, to control, to feel like you're in charge, even if it's just for the last few moments of this meditation. Let yourself feel what it feels like to completely expand, to completely offer yourself into this flow, into this bliss and joy, this love. Let this waterfall wash you clean. Release your struggle. Transform your fear. And affirm with me, out loud or silently if you need to. I offer myself to divine flow. I surrender my need to control and step into divine flow. I lovingly offer surrender of this and all situations in my life into divine flow. I allow myself to give the gift of divine service in whatever form that takes. I allow myself to step into my highest good by opening to divine guidance. I allow myself to expand beyond my physical limitations by opening to divine flow. Take a big deep breath, let it out with a long sigh. Use that ha sound. Enjoy your last few moments in this waterfall. Set the intention to bring this flow back with you into your regular life. Set the intention to leave your struggle here in the hands of this divine power that has your highest good in mind. And as you're ready, let yourself gently come out of your waterfall, come back onto the banks, to the ground. Enjoy being in this space for a few last moments. And again, set the intention to internalize this flow, to bring this flow with you. You can come back to this waterfall whenever you want to reconnect with flow. You can bring any situation, any struggle in your life back to this place and let it go. Offer it as a gift. Allow it to be transformed out of fear and into love. Let yourself come back into the room, into your body. slowly and gently, taking your time here, allowing that flow to guide you back into your physical body, to continue flowing through your physical body, through your energetic bodies, through your emotional body and your mental body. Invite this divine flow into your thoughts, into the things you're telling yourself that you're not even aware of. If you'd like to, you can allow the top of your head to gently close or leave it open to this divine flow for your highest good. Bring your awareness back into the head and the face, the jaw and the neck. Bring your awareness back into your shoulders and your arms, your hands. You can wiggle your fingers a little bit here. Roll your wrists if you'd like. Coming back fully into the body, into the torso, into the hips and pelvis. Coming back into the legs and the knees, to the feet, the ankles. You can wiggle your toes here. Allow yourself to repeat after me or say it with me. I am fully present in my body. I am fully present in my body. I am fully present in my body. Carry this sense of flow, of ease, of offering yourself into this flow, into the rest of this evening, into the rest of your week, to the rest of this month and this year. Recognize that no matter what our external circumstances look like, we can always access this divine flow, this connection to unconditional love, to the bliss that is divine energy. Let yourself come fully back into your mind now, present in mind and body, open to flow, open to love, open to service. You can take one last deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth if it feels good. Set the intention to fully ground yourself back into the body. Set the intention to continue offering your struggles, your fears, your whole being into flow. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I knew this was going to be a good one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you repeat this meditation as you feel called to, as you feel that you're stepping back into struggle. You deserve to be in flow. You deserve to be in this flow of divine love. You deserve to achieve whatever the divine has in mind for you, whatever meets your highest good in this physical life. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay in flow. And I will see you next week for Wind Down Wednesday.